Good morning, dear cadets. I am just continuing the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. Consider the same case of the rigid body, wherein we have considered only one particle. When the rigid body, which I have drawn earlier, suppose this is the rigid body, and this is the axis of rotation. This is the axis of rotation. Which undergoes pure rotational motion. When it undergoes pure rotational motion, yesterday we have considered this, then the particle of this rigid body, all the particles undergo circular motion with constant distance from the axis of rotation, and this constant distance from the axis of rotation acts as a radius, and this point on the axis of rotation is acting as a center for the circular motion of this particle, and it undergoes same angular velocity as that of the rigid body. Now if you just draw a tangential direction, the tangential direction gives us velocity, linear velocity, and then this is r perpendicular. Actually this is a radius, we call it as perpendicular distance, so I am calling it as r perpendicular. Then we have defined linear velocity of this particle as vector v equal to vector omega cross vector r, vector omega cross vector r. Then what is r? From our basic knowledge, vector r is the position vector which is measured from the origin. So if you draw this becomes the vector r, position vector. So now we have to define v vector equal to omega cross r using this diagram. What does it mean? So here it should give you r perpendicular multiplied by omega. So we know omega is acting along the axis of rotation. Omega is the angular velocity which acts along the axis of rotation. I told you yesterday to take your arm like this, take your palm like this, extend it and turn it towards r. You see the thumb points inwards. That gives you direction of velocity. Velocity vector is perpendicular to the plane containing angular velocity and the position vector. Now what does it mean from the diagram? Let us see. This is our reference diagram. This is giving us a vector diagram. OP is a position vector. Then OC is a vector. It's a vector OC along z axis, which is along the direction of angular velocity, along the direction of angular velocity. And another vector is CP. CP is a vector, radius vector, which is drawn from the center C to the particle P at any time t. Right? Now from this, let us write what is V. Vector V is therefore equal to omega cross. What is R from the diagram? From the diagram I can write R using the triangular law of vector addition. I can write it as OC vector plus CP vector. OC vector plus CP vector. OC vector plus CP vector, because we have to define in general omega cross R. Right? Now expand this using law of distributive property. Property of distributive. Omega cross distribution property. Omega cross OC plus omega cross CP. Omega cross OC. What does it give? See, omega is in the same direction. OC is also in the same direction. OC and omega being in the same direction, what is the angle between them? Angle between them is 0. So it gives you result omega OC into sine 0. So sine 0 is 0. So omega cross OC gives you 0 plus omega cross CP. What does this CP give you? CP give you r perpendicular. So it is nothing but r sin theta. If you take this angle as some angle theta here, then is it not giving you r sin theta? or in just leave it, you can write it as r perpendicular. CP is r perpendicular. R perpendicular vector. So if you extend this, this is r perpendicular vector, and this is what we have taken yesterday as an angle. Okay. So thus we get V equal to omega cross r perpendicular. What is angle between omega cross and r perpendicular? The angle between omega and r perpendicular is 90 degree. Angle between omega and r perpendicular is 90 degree. So is it not omega r perpendicular sin 90? So sin 90 becomes 0. Therefore, V for this particle P now becomes omega r perpendicular. That's how we define that. R perpendicular is the radius CP, where r perpendicular is radius of the particle of the orbit that I can write as C. Okay, this is how we work it out. Even though we take the origin at any position, we have taken origin here. Even if you take origin at any position, arbitrary position, the definition of linear velocity with respect to angular velocity say V equal to vector V equal to omega cross r. After simplification, you will get finally vector V equal to omega cross r perpendicular. So omega when you turn it towards r perpendicular, that gives you linear velocity vector. If the particle comes over here, when the particle comes over here, draw a tangent. So this becomes V velocity vector, and this is now CP vector, that is r perpendicular. In this case, how do you find out? How do you show that it is linear velocity tangential? How do you show that? That is V equal to r omega. Just again, stretch your palm along the direction of. You take your palm along the direction of omega. Hold your hand like this and turn it towards r. You see the thumb. The thumb is pointing towards you. So the thumb points towards you means it is tangential at this point. That gives us velocity vector. That's how linear velocity vector is perpendicular to both omega vector as well as r perpendicular vector. So second thing we have already discussed, as you go away from the axis of rotation, the linear velocities differ, but the angular velocity remains same. The angular velocity of all the particles will be same as that of the entire rigid body when the rigid body undergoes pure rotational motion along a fixed axis. Now, since angular velocity is a vector quantity, see here, omega is a vector quantity. So, omega can differ by differing its magnitude with respect to time, or omega can differ by changing its direction of axis of rotation. If the axis of rotation changes, then omega changes, because omega acts along the axis of rotation. Acts along axis of rotation. Since it is being a vector quantity, omega can change. Vector omega can change either by changing its magnitude. Magnitude, is given by V by R. By changing the velocity, by changing the distance, we can change the omega. We are not considering this example now. The body when it is undergoing rotational motion, it need not have omega always constant. Okay, I have taken an example of a rigid body having constant omega value uniform. But in general cases, what happens? You have played with the spinner. When you play with the spinner, the axis of rotation is fixed. Initially, it is having zero velocity. When you give it spin, what happens? Suddenly, its speed increases from 0 to maximum value. When it is increasing from 0 to maximum value, after a certain time what happens? Its speed goes on decreasing. Its speed goes on decreasing means what? The magnitude of angular velocity goes on decreasing. So, magnitude of angular velocity can increase or decrease. So, value of omega can change either by changing magnitude or by changing the direction of axis of rotation, or in certain cases both may change. Both magnitude as well as direction may change. Both that magnitude as well as direction may change. In this way, there is a change of angular velocity. Then what happens when there is a change of angular velocity? When there is a change of linear velocity, recall motion of an object in a plane. When an object changes its linear velocity with respect to time, we call it as acceleration. In the same way, when a rotating body, a rotating rigid body changes its angular velocity with respect to time, either by magnitude or by direction or by both, when there is a change of angular velocity with respect to time, we call it as angular acceleration. So we define angular acceleration as the time rate of change of angular velocity. So now we define the time rate of change of angular velocity is called angular acceleration. Angular acceleration. So angular acceleration is denoted by alpha. Linear acceleration is denoted by A. Angular acceleration is denoted by alpha. Linear velocity is denoted by B vector. Linear acceleration is denoted by A vector. So you must have a comparative study. When you have a comparison, then the study will be easier. Now, I can define alpha equal to d omega by dt. D omega by dt. This gives us rate of change of angular acceleration. Rate of change of angular acceleration. Okay. Now these things are helpful in understanding the rotational motion. Right? Then what is the SI unit of angular velocity? SI unit of angular velocity, we already know, is radian per second. Radian per second. Whereas SI unit of angular acceleration, SI unit of angular acceleration. Look here, radian per second. This is expressed as radian per second. So it becomes radian per second square. Radian per second square. So radian per second square is the SI unit of angular acceleration. So with the help of knowledge of angular velocity, angular acceleration, now we are learning one very important aspect of force, that is called as torque. What is torque? Let us learn. Okay, now we are learning very important quantity, that is called torque. It's all quite common experience for all of us. Whenever you want to close the door, we apply force. When we want to open the door, we need force. For closing the door, opening the door, there is a knob. there is a handle for opening the door, for closing the door, right? Similarly, for opening the windows, we apply force at a particular point. Here, the doors, windows, they are all fixed at their hinges. The door is fixed at one particular position, at the edges. At the frames, the door is fixed. Similarly, at the frames, the window doors are fixed. If these doors are not fixed, if you just apply force, then what happens? The doors are going to fall. The doors tend to undergo linear motion. In the same way, if it is just a window door, if you just apply force, if it is not fixed with the hinges, if it is not fixed at the hinges, then the window door will not open. The window door will fall because of application of force. So here at the edges, the window doors are fixed. Even the main doors are fixed at the edges, so that when we apply force, the door can be closed or door can be opened by turning effect. So door is turned to close, door is turned to open, right? So whenever turning of a body or rotating of a body is required, we need force. This combined effect of turning of a body with the help of force is called torque. So whenever you want to open any object, for example, here is a nut, a screw, a big screw you must have seen for the cycle wheel, for any wheel of a motor, for any wheel of a tire. You see, whenever the tire gets punctured, they will replace the tire with the another one stepney, right? So that moment they will search for a spanner. It's a spanner or wrench. It is called as spanner. The spanner with long handle is called wrench. Spanner with a long handle, bigger one is called wrench. So we search for the suitable one and we fix it here so that it will have a proper grip, and then we apply force in this direction. Here when the force is applied, you see, when the force is applied in this direction, then it tends to rotate this nut bolt, the nut bolt or the nut tends to rotate, the screw tends to rotate, the screw tends to turn. Right? This is the case when you want to try to fit in. If you want to try to fit in. If you want to open it, then you will be applying force in the opposite direction, in the clockwise sense. Okay. If you apply the force in the anti-clockwise sense, then the nut bolt will open, the screw opens. So when you turn it in the clockwise sense, the screw tightens, the big screw. The big nut tightens. When you apply it in the opposite direction, that is in the anti-clockwise sense, it opens. This turning effect of force, here force is there which tends to turn. The force which tends to turn leads to turning effect of force called as torque. So torque is defined as turning effect of force. The turning effect of force is called as torque. So this torque depends on the force. This torque also depends on the point of axis of rotation. The axis of rotation passes through this center. And this distance depends on this distance. Longer the distance, lesser is the force applied. Shorter the distance. If you take small spanner, how difficult it is. If you take a small spanner, try to open that hard nut. It becomes very difficult if it is a hard spanner. So you will search for a long handle wrench, the one which is having longer handle wrench. Sometimes you must have seen the drivers on the conductors of the bus, they will search for one bigger one, and to that they will put one cylinder, and on that they will apply very large force to open that nut bolt, hard nut bolt. You will apply the force in the anti-clockwise sense in order to open it, and in the clockwise sense in order to turn it tight, in order to tighten it. So you must have observed. So this turning effect of force is called torque. So the torque depends on the length of application of force. This is called arm length. Arm length of force. And this is force. It depends on two factors. It depends on the force and arm length of force. Arm length of force means the distance between the point of application of force and the axis of rotation. So this is called arm length of force. So closing or opening of the doors, turning the clock handles, turning the clock hands. You see the clock hands, minute hand, second hand, hour hand, they are fixed at the center. If your wall clock has stopped working, suppose you open it, you can turn it. So you are applying force at one particular point. The other end of that clock hands, other side of the clock hands are fixed, so that you can turn it clockwise or anti-clockwise, and you can set the timing. So closing or opening of the door, you can give number of examples. Opening and tightening of a nut, there we require torque. So the torque depends on force. The torque depends on arm length of force. So the SI unit of torque is Newton meter. We have already learned Newton meter is the SI unit of work done. So this is another physical quantity which is also having same SI unit as that of the work done, Newton meter, but work done is scalar quantity, torque is vector quantity. Torque is a vector quantity. Although they are having same SI units, but torque is a different quantity and the work done is a different quantity. What is work done? We have learned already. Suppose this is a block. If you apply force, right, the block undergoes linear displacement along the direction of force. Linear displacement along the direction of force. So then we worked out work done as F dot B. Scalar product of force and displacement. When a force is applied along the direction of motion, or when the displacement takes place along the direction of force, then work is done. But this work done is scalar quantity. Here it is different. Here you are applying force in one direction. It is tending to rotate the object. So this entire effect of force and this displacement, sorry, it is not displacement, force and distance from the axis of rotation. Distance from the axis of rotation. This product gives us torque. Now let us find out the expression for torque mathematically. Here we will learn first the torque acting on a single particle. First we will learn torque acting on a single particle. The torque is also called as moment of force. Okay, the moment of force is also same as torque. So what is moment of force acting on a single single particle, or what is torque acting on a single particle when the particle is at a position vector r. Suppose this is the position vector r from the origin. This is y-axis, x-axis and z-axis, x, y, z, origin. This is the coordinate system, frame of reference. Okay. Suppose the position of vector of the particle P is r vector, and if the force is acting in some direction. Suppose this is the direction of force. This is the direction of force. Now remember, the particle is not free. It can tend to rotate about an axis. The particle, you can think that it is fixed to a particular hinge. Single particle is fixed to a particular hinge, right? So a force is applied on that, so that the particle doesn't undergo linear displacement. It will have a turning effect. How does it turn? That is our question. So we are defining torque by two quantities here. One is the force. One is the force, that is F. Another one is the position vector of that force. Position vector of that force with respect to axis of rotation. Think that this is the point about which the particle tend to rotate. There is an axis of rotation about this point origin, about which it tend to rotate like this. That's what I told you. This particle is not free. Like if a free particle is there, if a force is applied, then the particle will undergo displacement. Then work is done. That is different aspect. It is tend to rotate. It is tending to rotate about a fixed axis. Then how to calculate torque? Torque acting on a single particle is denoted by tau. We know that this is T. So you can just write artistic T. This becomes torque. So you can write torque tau as little bit artistic T. So this is torque tau. This is the Greek notation, like alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So tau is the Greek notation which is used to symbolize the torque. Torque tau is given by the cross product of position vector and force vector. Position vector and force vector. R cross F. What is R here? R is the position vector of the particle. This is R vector. And this is the particle. And this is the direction of force. The what is R cross F? It is a cross product of position vector and force vector. Now, how to find out this from the diagram geometrically? Next, extend this R. So when you extend this R, this becomes the direction of position vector, and this is the angle between force vector and R vector. This is the extended R. So angle between force vector and R vector is theta. Then I can write this as R sin theta into F. By definition, A cross B equal to AB sin theta or A sin theta into B. So I am writing here R sin theta into F, where R sin theta is magnitude of R, magnitude of F into sin theta, sin of the angle between force vector and R vector. Now what is R sin theta? We will find out from the diagram. Now this is being a vector quantity, so I have to write torque tau vector as a vector quantity. This is multiplied by n cap. So n cap gives you direction of torque. The direction of torque is perpendicular to both position vector and F vector. It will be perpendicular to force vector and the R vector. It will be in this direction, perpendicular to this one. So this becomes the direction of torque. If you rotate it, see this is extended R cross F. So this becomes the torque tau vector, right? Now, what is the value of R sin theta? So by the property of geometry, you see this is the alternative integral angles are equal. So if this is theta, then this is also equal to theta. Now extend this. Extend it back. Then draw a perpendicular from here. From origin, draw a perpendicular. What is this perpendicular from the right angle triangle? If this is O, this is P, call this one as M, OM. Draw OM perpendicular. Draw OM perpendicular to the force vector extended back. Force vector extended back. So that becomes OMP right angle triangle. From OMP right angle triangle, what is this R? If this is angle theta, then sin theta from this, from right triangle OMP, sin theta equal to, you see sin theta equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. Opposite is OM. Hypotenuse is magnitude of R. Magnitude of R can be written as just R. Therefore, OM, which we wanted, this perpendicular distance OM is equal to R sin theta. Yes, OM is equal to R sin theta. Thus, I can substitute R sin theta in this direction, in this equation. Therefore, torque on a single particle, torque on a single particle, torque on a single particle due to force F, torque 2 vector, torque 2 vector is equal to R cross F, R sin theta. R sin theta I am representing by OM into F into L cap. What is OM from the diagram? Is it not the perpendicular distance? The perpendicular distance of the force into force. OM is the perpendicular distance of the force from the axis of rotation into force. Therefore, I can write, therefore, torque 2 can be written as torque 2 can be written as R sin theta, that is perpendicular distance of force, perpendicular distance of force from axis of rotation, into magnitude of force, into magnitude of force. This gives us what is the meaning of torque. You can take this one as this into N cap.